Yes,
Um,
we have the perfect speaker for that, Jen. Who do we have up?
All right, we have Gilad Bandal, who is the Vice President of Product and Marketing at Arlo Automotive Cybersecurity. And Gilad is going to address kind of how we can use some of these technologies to reduce congestion, limit emissions, air pollutions sort of issues, but how that really looks in terms of kind of those cybersecurity challenges and the implications. So without further ado, we're going to step out of the way, and Gilad, the floor is yours.
There you go.
Thank you. So I work a lot with Brandon and with ASRG, and I give there some lectures. So you're more than welcome and encouraged to join ASRG. Excellent forum, and by all means, please do. So from my perspective, my name is Gilad Bandel. I serve as VP Product and Marketing for Arlo Automotive Cybersecurity. Today's topic will be connected and automated vehicles, but I will focus mainly on the cybersecurity concerns for cooperative intelligent transportation systems. So we'll take you from the connected to the automated to the cooperative ITS, looking at the threats and looking at solutions, how we can address this. So a few words about Arlo, just that you have a grip of where I'm coming from. So Arlo was established back in 2012. It was acquired by a large European automotive software supplier, the NNG Group, back in 2016. So now we're a proud member of this NNG Group. The reason that I can speak with you today is the fact that we do have products which are exactly in the area and provide solutions for the problems that I will raise, namely the Sentinel product line, which is firewall and intrusion detection, intrusion prevention systems. We have a few flavors of them. The main one is Sentinel ETH and IDS IPS for the automotive Ethernet, and the Sentinel CAN, which is an IDS IPS for CAN bus and SAJ 1939 commercial vehicles. More members in our family, and they were mentioned before in other sessions, the secure boot for ECUs and actuators and sensors. And we provide also professional services mentioned by Brandon, such as ISO SA 21434 consulting for compliance, and TARA service, threat analysis and risk assessment. So those are a few words regarding the company. What's on the plate today? So I'm going to introduce you with some new technology. Some of it is better known, some of it less known, but it's important that we are all on the same page and speak the same language of this new technology, the connected, automated, cooperative driving, and so on. We'll speak about the attack scenarios, and if for any reason you leave the session just after the attack scenarios, you won't be able to sleep at night. So I strongly encourage you to take the whole session, including the protection methods, so we are all understanding that this is the right thing to do and this is the way to protect the vehicles. So let's look at new technologies and things that influence the market. We see a migration from CAN bus to automotive Ethernet. A lot of power, a lot of capabilities, IP over Ethernet. Many things can be done there. However, this is a very well-known protocol. Actually, the stack of the protocols are well-known. IP, TCP, UDP, ARP, DHCP, and so on. So those are generic IT protocols. A lot of vulnerabilities, a lot of experience from hackers on how to attack those things. Many well-known public exposures. From the other side, this is new software. So new software tends to be with new bugs, and new bugs means new vulnerabilities. The dedicated automotive protocols such as SAM-IP, DOIP, new protocols, new features, new capabilities, together with new risk and new vulnerabilities. So it's exciting going to automotive Ethernet. There is a separate long session and lecture on the automotive Ethernet cybersecurity that we can discuss. Not today, just to give this this highlight. Next thing is complexity. Many lines of code are in a vehicle. I don't want to say if it's the most complex things, more complex than planes, more complex than Windows, and so on. But the fact that there are many computers increases the risk. And those computers are interconnected, not only among themselves, but with many wireless connections such as key fobs, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and mainly the cellular, which is the major concern. What we're looking here, we're looking for safety, reliability, and privacy, and mainly availability as well. This is a bit different than the IT, in which we look at more privacy and data protection. Safety and reliability are not concerns in the IT industry. So we are in the OT, operation technology industry. Safety, reliability, privacy are the main issues. Safety and reliability obviously lead. Unfortunately, there weren't so many events, cyber events. None of them ended with casualties or physical damage, as opposed to the IT, where many ransomware and identity theft and many events are there. So cybersecurity is a commodity for IT. It is very hard to show return on investment, and it's very hard to gain the trust and the resources from management to invest in this area. Luckily enough, and as Brandon mentioned before, regulation steps in. I'm not going to say a word about regulation, so I'm going just to skip, but 2022 is the first year. Actually, 2024 is the decisive year, and as of then, any new vehicle needs to be protected. And many people spoke about it before, so no need to go into this any further. What is what is V2X? V2X is vehicle to everything. It can be vehicle to vehicle, vehicle to infrastructure, vehicle to grid, vehicle to cellular, vehicle to whatever you can imagine. So the vehicle is communicating with its environment. It's not a standalone air-gapped system. It's a connected entity. Things that can be done are things like do not pass warning, left turn assist, preventing accidents, so it raises the safety, traffic light, so it tells you ahead of time that red light is in front of you. So those are actually very, very good things that come with the V2X. The fact the vehicle can communicate with the roadside unit, with the cloud, with other vehicles, with pedestrians, excellent things. But nothing comes free of charge, and we will see the risks associated. So we have a connected vehicle. By the way, the connected vehicle does not need to be V2X. Any connection to the internet is regarded as connected. So if your infotainment system has connection to the internet and you can hear music from the internet, you are connected to the cellular. The telematics is connected to the cellular. EDRs, in many cases, are connected to the cellular. You have those dongles, those small plugs that you plug into the OBD2, and then the insurance company can monitor where you are going and at what speed, and you can have plans like pay per mile plan with the insurance. To make this happen, the dongle needs to communicate with the vehicle, needs to know its position from the GPS, and needs to communicate with the cellular. So there are many, many, many attacks options here. We add to this the V2X, which might use different. There are two protocols. One of them based on cellular, the other one based on Wi-Fi. But both of them serve equally the V2X. And now, not only that you are connected to the internet, you are connected to many things around, pedestrian, other vehicles, cloud, infrastructure, and so on. So this comes with the risks. Let's add the automated driving. So not only that we are connected, but we also entrust our lives in the hands of the vehicle. So the vehicle is now driving on its own and has its own sensors and lidars and radars and cameras around, and it is trying to keep the lane, and it is trying to keep the distance and trying to keep the speed. In general, for the long term, rest assured this will be the technology is always, it also works on planes, it will work on vehicles as well. It will take time, and in due time, I do believe that automated vehicles will be safer than human beings, and they will be able to drive in all driving conditions, on road, off road, weather, sunny day, rain, hail, and fog, and so on. So in the long term, we will get to level 5, and it will be a fully automated vehicle. There will be no steering wheel in a vehicle, so humans will not be involved in driving. But for now, we're halfway there, and halfway means it's not all that complete and safe, but still it's a direction. Now let's connect those two things together. We have a connected vehicle and autonomous vehicle. So now we have a combined connected and automated driving, more computerization, more connectivity, excellent attack factors, attack vectors. You take a guy on the internet through the cellular, reaches to the ADAS in the vehicle, controls the speed, controls the steering, and you have here a risk, a real risk. Now let's improve our quality of life. We go to cooperative intelligent transportation systems. So let's take, for example, a platoon of 50 vehicles. For example, the first vehicle has a human driver, but the rest of the 49 are just following the lead of the first driver, the first vehicle, and they need to communicate one with the other. It's enough that we attack one vehicle in this platoon and we cause here an accident. And it's a huge accident because it involves 50 cars, not one car. So increasing the complexity, increasing the theoretical safety and quality of life for us, we also increase the risks. So we need to find solutions how to address those risks. So let's look at the attack scenarios. The obvious attack scenario, the immediate suspect will be the attack through the internet. So we have a 5G or 4G network, doesn't matter, connected to the internet, and it reaches the vehicle. The first place it will meet the vehicle is the OBU, the onboard unit. This is the V2X component which communicates with the wireless network. Inside the vehicle, we have automotive Ethernet, we have CAN bus, whatever in-vehicle networks you can think about. So the attack scenario will most likely be through the cellular, or through the Wi-Fi, into the OBU, into the in-vehicle network, going to a safety-related vehicle and cause damage. So this is our major concern that we're looking at right now. What can happen? There are many cases. We can look at a few of them. For example, threat to confidentiality. Once we attack the vehicle, we can listen to the traffic, we can manage it, and we can extract information. We can tap to the communication, and we can collect information. Even today, you can collect a lot of information for very simple places. For example, you have the tire pressure management system, measuring system. You drive by a vehicle, you collect the signal, and you know the identity of that vehicle, and you can follow the vehicle, and you can find the vehicle wherever it drives. So we lose confidentiality. Threat to integrity. We can loop the information, we can tamper the information, and the information will not be complete. Think about the case that we're doing drive by mile, pay by mile, and we interfere with the traffic, and communicate that the vehicle drove only 5 miles, while in practice it drove 500 miles. So it can cause real damage here to the fleet owner. Threat to availability. Any denial of service attack, a distributed denial of service attack, is a threat to the availability. And if the vehicle is totally dependent on its environment and communication with the environment, once the environment and the communication was attacked, there goes your availability. Very simple case. Let's say I have a high power transmitter. I'm driving by the 50 trucks platoon, and I'm interfering with the communication between the vehicles. You lose the communication between the vehicles, you lose the platoon, and there you go, you have a denial of service attack. Threat to not, we can skip this, less relevant. It's more about transactions. Cannot deny things. Threat to authenticity. If I steal your identity, I'm not sure who I'm speaking with, and the authenticity of messages can be compromised. And there are more cases, accountability. I'm not going to go through all of them. I think that the general idea is quite clear. Elevated priorities, for example, you can do things that you're not allowed to do, and so on. So let's look at some protection options and what can be done. From my perspective, this is the most important slide, because what it shows that what people rely on cannot be really relied on. Many of those protocols rely on cryptographic means. That means that there is a cryptographic authentication and key exchange and encryption if needed. By the way, the V2X traffic is clear, is not encrypted, but there is a digital signature to ensure the authentication of the message and the authentication of the origin of the message. Make sure this is a trusted source, and so on. So I'm not saying that cryptographic means are not important. They are really important, but they protect only the envelope of the message. They cannot validate the content of the message. So if we have a compromised vehicle, a compromised ECU, a compromised roadside unit, whatever that unit is very, very securely sending can be rogue information, can be an attack, can be a misbehavior. So it is not enough that we're looking at the signature of a message. It really doesn't help you that much. The most important thing is to make sure that the content of the message is correct. So we need to find ways in which not only that we scratch the surface and make sure that the message is from a authorized and trusted source, that trusted source can be compromised. So we need to make sure that we also inspect the content. How that thing should be done. So we have here the OBU. In this case, it can be also a TCU, so it doesn't matter exactly which device is it. So this example is we're speaking about V2X, so it's an OBU. We have the external connectivity to the cellular, and we need to inspect traffic on two fronts. So it's very hard because we need to protect ourselves from two sides, both from the cellular side, which is the obvious attack scenario, but also from the interior of the vehicle, because there might be a scenario in which an internal ECU was compromised, and using the OBU, it is trying to attack the cloud and the cellular through the cellular network. So we need to make sure that both sides of the OBU are protected. From the cellular side, we inspect the incoming cellular traffic. On the in-vehicle, in this case CAN bus, but it can also be automotive Ethernet, we inspect the in-vehicle traffic and in-vehicle messages. This way we make sure that both the incoming traffic from the cellular and the outgoing traffic to the cellular, all of them are being inspected and protected. And inspection, I mean deep packet inspection, deep content inspection, stateful packet inspection. It's not just scratching the surface, it's really, really going inside. Let's look at a few things that we can do. There are many things. I took one area, which is plausibility of the message. Keep in mind, it's not the only thing. For example, the format of the message can be checked. And other things can be checked. We can do correlation between messages, between values, and so on. But I'm looking for now just on the plausibility part. This is mentioned also in the standards. So we can do a range plausibility, make sure that, for example, the position of the sender is within a maximum range. So if we receive a message from someone who is now in Australia, it would be a bit odd. So we need to make sure that whoever sends us is within a reasonable range, and I will speak about it a bit later. We need to make sure that the position makes sense, that that person is not transmitting from the middle of a house or from a river. Does not make sense. So we need to make sure that the location makes sense. Speed, if we see the location and that guy is driving at 1000 kilometers per hour or 1000 miles per hour, even better, does not make sense. So that message is for sure a fake message. You cannot do 1000 miles per hour on a road. Position consistency. If you are in one position in one message, the following message you should be within a certain distance of that original place. So we can follow a vehicle and make sure that it is moving in a reasonable fashion. The same goes with speed. You cannot be doing 20 kilometers, 20 miles per hour, and 100 milliseconds later doing 100 miles per hour. Doesn't work this way. The gradient is too steep. No way this thing happens. This indicates an attack. Position and speed consistency. Again, need to correlate a few things and make sure that along the way things make sense. Beacon frequency should be within the standard. So if it should be every 100 milliseconds, it should be 100 milliseconds plus minus 20 milliseconds. It cannot be every 10 milliseconds. This is a denial of service flood attack. It cannot be every second. Doesn't make sense. Position heading. Need to make sure and follow the sender that it is moving in a reasonable direction, which makes sense. Intersecting location. If we have the same GPS location for two vehicles sending a message and they are located in the same time, in the same place, again, cannot happen. They need to be apart. We have cases that vehicles suddenly appear. Vehicles do not suddenly appear. They approach. So first they need to be 200 meters, then 100 meters, then 50 meters. But they cannot be suddenly next to us without us seeing them along the way. So let's take an example of how this thing would be handled. There's something which is called the EEBL, Early Emergency Brake Light, that message that alerts the vehicles, even if they do not have a line of sight, that the vehicle ahead of them is performing an emergency brake. So how we would check this plausibility? We would do sensor fusion. Sensor fusion, we would check the signal strength, it's called RSSI, from the physical layer, and we compare it with the vehicle location. And from the RSSI, we can understand what is the speed and the distance of the vehicle, and what is the speed change of the vehicle. By change of the RSSI, we can understand this. And in parallel, we receive the GPS location. People like to call it GNSS and not a name of a brand, for the sake of everyone understanding GPS. And if those things do not match, then we understand that someone is trying to send a fake message. Now the question is, what do we do and how do we handle it? So there is a procedure in which we collect data along the way, we process the data, and then we reach a conclusion whether a message is plausible or non-plausible. A non-plausible message is called a misbehavior, and we perform here a V2X misbehavior detection. Once we have a detection, we need to decide what we do with the fact that we have a detection. So there are many things. It's a quite wide range of things that we can do with the misbehavior. If this is a nuisance, not a real threat, then we can ignore it. We might count it. So we say, okay, first time with no reaction, but after 3 times, this is already severe and we need to react. We can create a warning message. We can revoke locally the certificate of that vehicle, and we can actively revoke it, and we can even do it at a higher scale. So we can do it at a local scale, and we decide that we have a detection and we revoke the certificate of that sender. That means that as of now, we disregard any messages sent by that sender. We can do it at a cooperative level, for example, the platoon or the fleet. So as of now, the fleet will be in a state that it will totally disregard messages from one of the sources, one of the origins. It can even go globally. That means that in the whole network, that source is going to be regarded as an attacker, and we're going to just remove that vehicle from the network, and any transmission that it will perform, it will be disregarded. Obviously, both for the cooperative and for the global case, we need to distribute this information within the fleet or within the state, the country, and so on, so we can protect the rest of the vehicles from this offending attacker. Looking at the end-to-end process, we detect a local misbehavior, we react to it locally, we can disregard, we can issue a warning, we can locally revoke the certificate of the attacker. We are reporting it to a higher level authority. There, the global misbehavior detection authority is taking action, and it can react, for example, as a total removal of that certificate and of that vehicle from the network. This way, it won't be able further to generate any further damage. So let's summarize the take-home message. First of all, V2X and in general connected autonomous driving and cooperative intelligent transportation system, cybersecurity needs to be addressed from day zero. It's part of the design, secure by design, with all the relevant means. Since you cannot have a secure by design which will provide you 100% security, you need to go into a defense in-depth approach using a few layers. For example, you have secure by design, you have the cryptographic layer, and you have the intrusion detection system. All of them provide a few layers of security, increasing the security. Unfortunately, the major drive in the industry is not the professional people. It's mainly the regulation that will step in 2022 for new types and 2024 for all vehicles on the road. So I don't care why OEMs and tier ones take action to protect the vehicle, if it's because the CO wants it, because the regulation steps in, because the CISO said so. As long as this is done, this is the right path, and we need to be responsible to the lives of the passengers of the vehicle. So we took a multi-layer defense in depth approach. We spoke about it. We need to have secure software and hardware development and testing, including fuzzing, including penetration testing, any testing that you need to run and you can run in an effective and efficient fashion. Please do. You need to follow standards like ASPICE and MISTRA-C and so on when developing software, for example. You must have one dedicated, devoted, and independent component in the system that is doing only protection. This is a firewall, IDS, IPS, and so on. So you need to embed security in all the devices, but also keep someone independent and use professional people, professional company to guide you. You are more than welcome to visit our website for more information, and please follow us on LinkedIn. We post there a lot of valuable information. We'll be more than happy to share it with you. Thank you very much at this time, and really enjoyed being here today and looking forward for the next opportunity to be here in the future. Thank you. Joby, over to you.